She's April.
And she's Molly.
And we are
the Book Besties.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Okay, I'm ready.
How to be a good writer according to J.K. Rowling.
Oh my god, I'm gonna piss myself. Stop!
This whole book is pointless. This whole book is pointless.
But Dumbledore can be yeeted into the sun for all we care.
I really hope this is no one's first episode because we are a shit show today.
But our force is mine. We are Captain Planet.
Hi.
Hi. How are you, love?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So usually we don't get to see each other twice in a week. It's good to see your face.
I know, right? Twice in 1 week. I see that you are still lying with your Hufflepuff t-shirt.
It's not a lie. It's what's in my soul. We had a secret clandestine meeting yesterday.
We did. We had a secret clandestine meeting yesterday.
We confirmed our first 2 books for season 2 with our super secret Squirrel special guest.
Right.
We worked out the final details with him. He seems pretty excited. I think we're pretty excited.
Yeah,
I can speak for myself.
I'm really excited. Yeah, and I think follow us on social media. We'll be posting what's coming up for season 2 in general, but also we will reveal our secret guest and let you know more about him and his podcast. That's going to be coming up on our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. YouTube. We
Twitter, kind of. I gotta get better about that.
Our tweets are basically just forwards from our Instagram. I
gotta get better at it. Anyway,
I can only keep track of one app at a time, and Instagram is what I've picked. So
it's too much.
I'm too old for this.
So this week we are covering the last 3 Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
I want to do my PSA I did last week again for you fuckers.
Molly, do not call our fans fuckers.
Mother forkers then. Muggles, is that better?
I think that in our fandom, I'm the only one that's a muggle. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. So just a quick reminder. These are really big ass books. You guys know this. There's a lot happens in each book. We cannot talk about everything that happens in these books. There is just no bloody way.
No.
So I did my best to narrow down these books into 10 and under questions.
Yeah.
So if you have questions for us, guys, you know the deal.
Right.
Hit us up on socials. Email us at bookbestiespod@gmail.com. You know how to get a hold of us if you have questions we didn't answer.
Well, and we have been posting some discussion questions sort of about Harry Potter on social media, and we've gotten some really good engagement on there. If you're interested in sharing what your house is, and things like that, definitely any of that stuff that you post to social media, tag us in it.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Absolutely.
We'd love to respond.
See it.
Absolutely. So, you don't all have to hate Harry Potter like me. It's fine. It's fine.
But without further ado, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Let's start with this monstrosity of a book.
I don't think I realized the cover was blue for that one. I for some reason I thought the cover was an orangey color. I feel like it should be an orange color because Phoenix.
I know. It's disconcerting. So this book is where things turn dark, right, gang? This is the book where life kind of starts getting harder.
I don't agree with you that this is the place where the books turn dark, though. But I don't agree with that.
This is my least favorite book. I want to start with saying that.
It is
870 pages long. 870 pages, which makes it the longest of the Harry Potter books. And makes you want to dig your eyes out. What did you before we start, what did you think of this book? Where's it on your ranking of the Harry Potter books? As throw it into the fire so that I hated it the least.
It's definitely not at the bottom. Honestly, my least favorite was was the first book. But of the three we're talking about today was the Half-Blood Prince. I didn't really like that one, but it wasn't terrible to me because I like knowing more about the Order of the Phoenix, especially because I love Molly Weasley.
Weasley. The Weasleys are amazing.
Anything about her is great. Sirius Black is another favorite character of mine, so I definitely enjoyed more about him in this book. And I think it was nice to see wizards and witches who were established, who weren't in Hogwarts.
Yeah.
I think it was nice for Harry
in the real world. In the real world,
yeah. Yeah. Because we don't really get that. Like, most of the wizards that we see are at Hogwarts. So I think it was nice to see
other ones. We're seeing children, and it's nice to see the grown-ups.
Right. Yes, well, and grown-ups that aren't McGonagall and Dumbledore, even though I love McGonagall,
But Dumbledore can be yeeted into the sun, for all we care.
Well, he's dead, so it's fine. He doesn't have to be yeeted.
Depends on where you are in the books.
Well, yeah, good point. He's not dead at this point, so, yeah.
So let's start at the very beginning.
All right.
Harry's in a terrible mood. No one's written him. He's stuck at the Dursleys.
He's a moody teenager.
He's a fucking moody teenager. And then he and Dudley get attacked by Dementors, right?
Yeah.
He fights them off. And he gets a letter and he's expelled from Hogwarts. And he feels like he gets expelled. He gets help from his magical family, but everyone is cagey around him. Yeah. I mean, he feels hopeless. This book starts off, I think this book starts off dark. What do you think of the new direction these books are heading from here on out?
I mean, I actually don't think this is where the books turn dark. I think the first actual appearance of the darkness is it starts in Prisoner of Azkaban and it starts building from there. And I actually think the climax of the darkness, okay, now we are going dark, is when Cedric dies. So this book starting dark makes sense because the previous book
ended dark.
Right.
It really changed Harry. Right. And that's part of the moodiness that we're getting of Harry here.
Right. And I think at this point, Harry's 16. Is that right? Is he 16? No,
yeah,
that's 15.
Almost 16. His birthday's right before school starts.
No, because he's 17 in the last book because they're an adult as a wizard at 17.
So he's almost 15.
He's almost 15. So I think it makes sense that it starts getting dark here because this is definitely a transition to YA from being children's books. So it makes sense that it would go a little darker. Also, the storyline in general is a dark storyline, right? Yeah. It's like this guy tried to kill a baby. That's pretty freaking dark. Yeah. So anyway, but I do like the direction of being darker. I mean, to me, that's better than.
Well, it shows the books are maturing with its audience, right?
Right.
The kids that were reading these, the intended audience when they were reading these books grew up. They grew up with these books. They were literally maturing as these books came out.
Right.
So it makes sense that J.K. would write them a little bit mature each time to the pinnacle of the end of this book, right?
And I think that was probably her intention, was that because she was releasing a book a year, you grew up with Harry Potter. I didn't read these until I was an adult, so I didn't grow up with Harry Potter, but
I didn't have that experience either because I was I was 17, 18,
but in some ways you still, but in some ways you still did because you were reading them when they weren't all released, right?
Right.
Not all of them were out yet.
Right. So. And I wasn't a full mature grown up. Right. I didn't have my shit together.
I mean, when I read the first one, they weren't all out, but they weren't even near all out, but I didn't like it. So I never,
continued on.
Right.
So we get to the Black House for the first time and finally meet Kreacher. He's not like the other house elves we met before. What do you think of the things going on there in this being their hideout, the Black House.
All right, this to me is a major plot hole. This really bothers me that the Black household is the hiding place
for the Order of the Phoenix.
Well, and then in later in the final book, Deathly Hallows, that the trio would hide out there. Okay, this is why this doesn't make sense to me. First of all, I understand that Sirius was not a Death Eater, but his brother was, and his entire family were supporters. They were all Slytherin, and they were all supporters of Voldemort, and they didn't want mudbloods or Muggles, Muggle-born. So how do the Death Eaters not fucking know where their house is? Like, you can't just put a spell on it and make the geolocation disappear. Well, they would know it's in this vicinity. Like, the fuck?
I mean, I can't argue that. All I'm going to say is that they did spells to make it disappear. Which...
Okay, but they would still know it was there!
Right, but if you don't have... If they've made the protection spell against you not to be able to access it, then all you can do is sit outside and hope you see somebody come in or out.
And that's
what happens. And that's what happens in Deathly Hallows, right? Is the golden trio gets followed back, and that's how their fucking shit gets blown up. Anyway,
right. But that's my point.
Deathly Hallows. Away from Deathly Hallows.
But that's my point. This is a terrible hiding space.
This is the first time, but that's the first time it ever happens. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. It's a bad choice. Like, it's a bad choice, man. It gets one of these from me. Bad choice.
We're also, in this book, introduced to the most hated character in the whole fandom.
That bitch.
Dolores motherfucking Umbridge.
That bitch.
Did you find her climb in power at Hogwarts throughout the book interesting? Did you enjoy this part of the storyline?
She's pure evil in a pink cardigan. That's what's happening.
Facts.
So to me, she is a better representation of like what real evil is. Yes. Because Voldemort is the monster. I mean, I know he's not really a monster, although he kind of is, but he's like a monster, right? So he's the scary thing that lives under your bed. He's the thing that you tell your kids to be afraid of. What you really need to be afraid of is people like Dolores Umbridge.
Women in pink cardigans.
Well, I wear pink cardigans, so not all of us are like that. But you need to be afraid of people like her because she is intentionally evil.
Like, she smiles while she does it.
Yes!
It's disgusting.
She calls those Dementors to attack Harry and his cousin. Like, she's evil. Yeah. She's evil.
Her detentions are cruel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the writing lines isn't just writing lines with her.
Right.
She keeps instituting new rules that exclude people unlike her.
Right.
She cuts Quidditch out for Harry. She literally removes him from the only thing he loves at that school. And
the thing is about her that really bothers me in this series is that there's never any sort of true wrap up to her story. She just gets to keep living and being the bitch that she is.
I really, really, really wanted Hagrid's brother to eat her whole. Just swallow that bitch.
Somebody to kill her. Like, honestly, how does she makes it to the end. Like, she still exists.
Half horses. Why didn't they trample her to death?
Right.
Right. I mean,
and the thing is that in the battle between the Death Eaters and like Harry Potter, essentially, she doesn't fall in either of those. She's not a Death Eater. She's not Team Harry Potter. She's just her own little realm of
chaotic evil.
Yeah. Chaotic evil 100%. And she the fact she gets to live at the end of the series.
It's a good moral for kids. Sometimes bad guys get away with things.
Yeah.
That happens in real life.
You're right. You're not wrong. You're right. But I understand why people hate her more than Voldemort. Because Voldemort was evil for the sense of for having power. Like, he was power hungry. He wanted to be the greatest wizard of all time.
Right.
She's just a bitch. Like, she's just a bitch.
She feels like what she wants and what she's obtaining and what she's doing is right. Everybody that goes against her is wrong, bad, and evil. And, like, Harry, like, it just... I don't know.
But I mean, like, that's what it's like when you're somebody that lives so thoroughly for the law.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you live so thoroughly for the law that you can't stand it when someone deviates from
lawful evil. Yeah.
She's very, she's evil. And that's, like, I did like that scene in the movie where they just kept, like, adding more rules to the wall, and you could see, like, what's the squib's name? What's his name?
Oh, shit. The groundskeeper.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
And his cat, Mrs. Norris.
Yeah, what the hell's his name? But anyway, he kept, like, he would, like, have to climb on a higher ladder each time to, like, hang another rule. And I think, like, that to me, that was, like, that made sense. Filch, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. I was blanking.
So, but yeah. Because of her, because of the way she's teaching, Defense of the Dark Arts has become book-based for the kids.
Right.
And so Harry and the gang find another way to practice. And we get the Room of Requirements out of it. What did you think about the Room of Requirement? And what did you think of Dumbledore's army?
Okay, so here is an example of where I think J.K. Rowling actually plotted something out. Like, in the last episode when we talked about this, I said I don't think she has enough forethought to make these plans. So the Room of Requirement starts as this, like, one simple sentence where Dumbledore tells Harry that he once found a room full of chamber pots when he needed to use the restroom, right? He couldn't find a bathroom, he just found a room of chamber pots. And then we fast forward to, in this book, it becomes, the Room of Requirement becomes the place where they practice for the DA. My biggest problem with that is, like, if the room is always in the same place, like, that everyone can find it, so how is it really, like, a hidden room? But, whatever. I think it makes sense that there are these hidden rooms in Hogwarts, like it's a magical school. But I like the DA. I like that they cleverly name themselves Dumbledore's Army, because part of this book is that the Minister of Magic thinks that Dumbledore will
plotting against him,
create an army of students and plot against him, and the students end up doing it themselves. And then it ends up being at the end of the book when they're caught. Yeah, it's Dumbledore that can be blamed because they're named after him. So that makes sense. Harry is a much better teacher than, like, half the people at Hogwarts, so I don't understand why he's just not, like, everybody's teacher.
He's emulating, but I feel like Harry's trying to pick up the slack where Lupin left.
Yeah, he's a lot like Lupin.
And they did this... Okay, so in the movie, they did this thing where he started wearing and dressing like more like Lupin after Lupin left as a teacher.
I didn't notice that, but yeah, that makes sense.
They had him wear cardigans without the buttons buttoned. The way he wore his robes, the way, like, he definitely emulated Lupin.
Yeah.
I have a beef with this book versus movie when it comes to Room of Requirement. They again omit how important Dobby is, right? Dobby provided the room to Harry. Not Neville, which I'm glad they made Neville's storyline pop in the movies, but his original storyline is great.
Yeah.
Why do we have to change it?
Right. They didn't bring in enough of his original storyline.
Right. Like, I understand you want to keep Neville relevant in the movies without giving us his full backstory, but it's bullshit. Like, Dobby did that. Dobby did a lot of things that these other fuckers didn't do. Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I thought that the DA itself, I liked watching them, like, learn together.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they supposed to do? Like, the school literally has banned them from learning the things that they literally need to know. Yeah. Like, I don't need to know about how to turn into a cat. Like, no, not everybody's going to be doing that, but I really do need to know how to fight evil. Like,
there's bad guys outside constantly.
Right. Right. And so inside, because we still have Snape there.
Yeah. Also in this book, Harry's still having visions of Voldemort, and they're seeming to get worse.
Yeah.
He actually pre-sees Arthur Weasley's attack.
Right.
And this leads Harry to having occlumency lessons with Snape, with which both of them end up hating.
Right.
What did you think about all this? These two characters being forced together in these scenes.
Like, I don't feel like Snape was the right person to do this. Like, it makes more sense that Dumbledore would have been the one to tutor him in this.
Dumbledore made him do it. Right?
I know, but I think that the reason that Rowling made the choice to have Snape and Harry do this together is so we can get the scene where we learn what it was like for Severus when he was in school and how James Potter and Sirius Black
asshole.
They were not nice to him.
No,
and I think we needed to see that interaction, and so. You know, she's just not smart enough to figure out another way to write it. So,
right.
You know, that was the only way.
It doesn't make it like, and man, poor Harry. He's witnessing his dad be a bully.
Yeah.
What kind of, that's a position you don't want to be in as a child.
You don't. And it doesn't get any better when he, I'm sorry to fast forward to Deathly Hallows, but in Deathly Hallows, when we get like the full story about how Severus knew Lily from childhood, that doesn't make it more appealing that he was being bullied. Like, it makes it worse. And also the way that the houses are at this time, the bullies are all Slytherin. Like, that's where the bullies are.
Right.
They're not brave. They're not kind. When they are challenged, like when anyone rises against Draco, he's like, oh, don't hit me. Like,
he's such a little bitch.
Yeah.
Bitch.
So, like, the fact that Severus even took it at all, like, that's pretty amazing. But I don't like his character. I know everybody's like, he's redeeming, the always thing. I don't care about that. To me, he was bad the whole time. Like, I don't think he was ever a good teacher for Harry.
I want to talk about this in Deathly Hallows.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of opinions about Snape and the redemption arc. So,
I have a lot of opinions on it too.
But it's a good start on where we're heading.
Yeah.
I didn't like the occlumency lessons.
No, I didn't either.
Dumbledore knew very well Harry wasn't going to listen to Snape. And Dumbledore knew very well that fucking Snape was going to treat Harry like trash. That gets a... Because Dumbledore fucking knows better. He is watching everything. He fucking knows everything that's going on.
Right.
He is not going to repair the relationship by forcing them together. It is just bullshit. Moving on.
But I think Dumbledore used Snape just like he used Harry.
Always. Everybody is a pawn in whatever game Dumbledore has. Period.
And let's be honest, a better private tutor for him, if it wasn't going to be Dumbledore himself, would have been McGonagall.
Fucking... He knows where Lupin is.
Right.
He could have had Lupin hiding in the fucking...
He could have had fucking Sirius do it.
Like... Anyways.
Anybody would have been a better option. You can't tell me he was the best at that. That's why he needed to do it. No, fuck that. Fuck it.
So, by Christmas break, we've seen Arthur's attack. Mm-hmm. Arthur's in the hospital, and while Arthur's in the hospital, the kids are wandering around, and they stumble across Neville.
Oh, the Longbottoms.
Longbottoms. Mm-hmm. We learn about the tragedy that happens to the Longbottoms in this book. Mm-hmm. Did you like this storyline? Does it make you look at Neville differently?
I think you understand him a little bit better. It would... it definitely explains his fear of Snape, in my opinion, because, like, Death Eaters... I know it was Bellatrix that did this to his parent.
Snape's definitely tied to that crew.
He's a Death Eater.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like that makes sense to me, that he would be 100%. Terrified of him.
Yes.
And, like, I had this conversation with Tom in the car today, because we were talking about, like, what house James and Sam would be in. And I said, James to me could be a Gryffindor, or he could be a Ravenclaw. And Tom was like, you think that James is brave? And I was like, I absolutely think he's brave. And the reason is the same reason that Neville is in Gryffindor. To me, it is brave to know what's right and have to fight to stand up for that, even when you're terrified of doing that. And to me, that's what Neville does. Like, he knows what Snape and the Death Eaters are doing is wrong. So, he works up to being brave enough to stop it. You know?
I saw this TikTok, and if I can find it, I'll post it in stories with this episode.
Okay.
So, this TikToker says that Neville was almost, so there's a name for it, and I can't remember the name. I'll put it in the notes.
Okay.
It is, wizards that are born magical that choose not to use their magic. There's a whole group of them.
Like, sort of like Dumbledore's sister?
Like Dumbledore's sister. It's the opposite of squibs, right?
Okay.
They're born in, but they choose not to.
Google it real quick.
But her storyline, her explanation of this is, and this is backed by stuff written by J.K. on Pottermore. Anyway, Neville almost didn't go to Hogwarts because of how much he feared magic because of what magic did to his parents. So, when they put the hat on him, the hat saw how much bravery it took for him to even step into those walls. That makes him a Gryffindor. That is what makes Neville so brave. He wakes up every day and chooses to be a part of a world that destroyed his parents.
Yeah.
And that makes him the bravest character, this woman says. And I cannot disagree. Just because he's not physically fighting someone, but instead battling this mental freaking war in his head is fantastic. It is a fantastic character that needs to be dived into way deeper.
I couldn't find the answer.
I'll find it.
Look, but to me, I would much rather have a story about Neville than Harry. His character development is much more intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm. Did you know he was almost the chosen one?
I didn't know that when I was reading this, but I think Nurse Katie actually told me in like our group chat. And then
I put a link in the notes too if you saw it.
I did.
And I'll share that link in the episode notes too.
I read that, and like, to me, his story arc is better. Like, he grows as a person. I don't think Harry does. To me, Harry is like the kind of person that's like YOLO. Like, he finds out he's a wizard.
He's a true Gryffindor. Like, he is jumping off a tower and hoping somebody catches him. Right?
But to me, that doesn't necessarily make you brave. That doesn't necessarily...
It makes you courageous, but stupid.
Yeah.
And that is 95% of the Gryffindor house.
Like, it's going to make
most Gryffindors will tell you that.
It's going to make you, like, famous on YouTube because you're a jackass. But but it doesn't... It's not brave. And like... All right, so... There are other books where we have the chosen one isn't as likable of a character, and so I'm going to use my favorite series, which we're actually going to talk about in season 2 of the pod, which is The Hunger Games.
Yes.
Katniss is not the likable hero. Peeta is. I
like Katniss, but I'm also snarky and bristly like she is, so.
You're not wrong. So, I don't think authors always choose the best character to be the hero. I think it's their storyline and maybe their character doesn't develop as well. I mean, here with Katniss, she does grow as a character for sure, but the more equipped natural hero is Peeta. Like, it's just who he is as a person. And I feel like that with Neville too. Like, Harry's just like, all right, I'll just go and I'll just YOLO, right? Right. But Neville grows. He becomes a real person, you know?
And I think the reason Neville wasn't the chosen one is Neville is very skittish, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think he would have he doesn't make friends as easily as Harry does. So we wouldn't have gotten the Golden Trio. We would not have gotten the people that help Harry along the way. Neville would have carried this burden on his own, but I don't think it would have ended well, you know?
But maybe it wouldn't be like that, because that's the character we know because of the situation that happened to him.
That's true.
But I mean, like the article you posted,
maybe there's fanfic out there and we're just missing it. If you know about this fanfic, like,
I'm sure there is. I'm not a reader of fanfic, but I'm sure there is. But the truth is that if his parents died instead of being in a mental hospital where they're basically catatonic,
they're insane. Bellatrix literally drove them insane.
Yeah. How would his life be different? Would his grandma have still raised him? Or would he need to hide from Voldemort and his grandma couldn't have raised him? So the story would just be different. Like, Neville wouldn't be Neville. You know what I mean? And I feel like if that were the case, that Harry would, even though both his parents were Gryffindor, I see that Harry would have gone Slytherin.
I think Harry would have be more Draco-like, yes.
Yes.
I think Harry would be more Draco-esque.
Because his dad was kind of a dick.
His dad was always a dick.
Yeah.
It's just, who kept him in check was his wife. Right. So, Lily Potter kept him in check.
I had somebody once tell me that they think, and maybe it was, I don't think it was you or Katie, but that you don't actually become a Gryffindor. Like the Sorting Hat doesn't make you a Gryffindor. You choose that. Yes. Which is why Harry could be a Slytherin.
Pick Gryffindor. Right. The other houses are selected.
Right.
Like
it's a Hermione could be a Ravenclaw. Ron could be a Hufflepuff. They chose Gryffindor.
Yep.
And maybe that makes you brave to choose that. But then think of what that means.
It's also cocky, man. I know who I fucking am.
But think of what that means for someone like Neville, who chooses Gryffindor, even though you don't necessarily feel that bravery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we just went really deep there, and I'm not sure that...
I liked it.
But you need a snarky comment, so I'm going to give you one. I think the discussion we're having right now is not the deep level that it's not a level that J.K. Rowling ever gets in this book. She's not deep enough for it.
It was definitely something we as readers pulled out of this story.
Right. The fandom did this. So
yes.
Okay. All right. I understand the fandom a little bit better, but I'm still not one of you. But
that's okay. Sure. Hagrid is missing for quite a while. Mm-hmm. We later learn it's because he was doing work for Dumbledore trying to get the Giants prepared. He finds out he has a little brother in this journey.
A big brother who's little. His younger big brother.
Younger brother. His big little. Yeah. That's what I call Jessie, actually, because she's much taller than me.
Yeah, all three of my brothers are taller than me. So,
and I'm her little big. Anyways, while I like the storyline, I'm not sure it's needed. What did you think?
It was completely pointless. I honestly feel like this,
other than tossing Umbridge around, no, not needed.
I honestly feel like this is an example of like being an unskilled author who has created too many characters to keep track of them. Like, she needed something for Hagrid to be doing, but he wasn't needed in the story that she was creating. So she just was like, oh, he's on a side quest.
Right.
Like, no. But the problem is he's not a character that people wouldn't notice was missing. So if you don't write a story for, say,
Lavender Brown.
Nobody notices. No. I was thinking of Seamus.
Finnegan?
Nobody notices them. No. But Hagrid's
because they're D-level characters, right?
Right. But Hagrid's one that people are going to be like, the fuck? Where's Hagrid? So you have to give him some sort of side quest. But no, it was pointless. It was pointless.
Right. At the Ministry, at the end of the book, we're at the Ministry of Magic. Mm-hmm. The Order of the Phoenix and Dumbledore's army fight Voldemort and the Death Eaters. Mm-hmm. Sirius Black dies. Mm-hmm. As a reader, you're sad for Harry. Mm-hmm. Do you think this was a necessary death for the storyline to move on?
So, I want to start by saying that Sirius's death was the first time that I had an emotional reaction to the series that wasn't anger. I cried. When he died, we were listening to it as an audiobook, husband and I were, and when he died, I said, did Sirius Black just die? And Tom was like...
I had to re-listen to it 3 times.
Yeah. And I was like...
process it.
Wait a minute. Sirius Black just died? What? And I cried. And the truth is there needed to be a character's death that was core to the story. Cedric's story, it was not core. You don't meet Cedric. I mean, I guess he's sort of in very slightly Azkaban. Is he in Azkaban?
But he's in 2 books.
His main story arc is in Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire, and then the book before that, whatever the fuck it is.
I think it's Azkaban. But you needed someone central to the story to die. Yeah. And I guess I'd rather have it be Sirius Black than one of the Weasleys, but it's really, that's a hard death for, I think, so many characters in this world.
Well, he ties everyone together. He ties the old guard together, right? Mm-hmm. He had a redemption arc with the Order of the Phoenix. He first was the reason for Lily and James's death. Then, oh my God, he wasn't the reason. Right. He was their true friend all along. But now, oh no, the Ministry and Voldemort are after him. We have to protect him. Oh, and then like, oh my God, he's Harry's godfather. It just, and this death, it had to happen. Right. As a writer, I agree. It had to happen. Harry had plenty of motivation, and he was already angry, but this really was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have to do something now.
Well, and I feel like Sirius was like his mentor, right? I mean, I know in some ways Lupin was because he was his teacher, and in some ways Dumbledore was because, whatever. Yeah. But with Sirius, he's not a teacher. He's not related to Hogwarts. He's the only person in the magic world who is helping him with magic and life. Now, the Weasleys help him with life. They don't help him with magic. But Sirius did. He helped him discover who he was. He made him know more about his parents.
Yeah. It made him feel more connected to his family in a way that the Dursley never did.
Absolutely. And his death, it was needed. It was needed. It didn't make me any less sad, but it was definitely a death that was needed in this story.
100%.
Yeah.
So before we jump into movie versus book, I have one more question.
Sure. Oh yeah, go ahead. Because I had something about his death I wanted to share, but go ahead.
So share that. Share it.
So I want to say that my favorite part of this book is actually something that Neville does. When Harry has never told Neville that Sirius has come, like he's not a bad guy. Right. Like he's my godfather. He's a good guy. He's never told him that. No. But Harry, and he never tells Luna that either, but Harry goes to Luna and Neville and says, hey, we've got to go save Sirius Black. And they're like, I'm in.
Because that is loyalty right there.
100%. That is why I like Neville, because he doesn't know why we need to save Sirius Black. He just knows that his friend needs help and he's going to go do it.
And that just shows, okay, the movies show this big divide in the houses.
Right.
And the books do too a little bit, but I'm going to want to tirade here for a second. So rabbit hole with Molly real quick. In the movies, the Patil twins are in the same house. That's not the case. In the books, they are separated. The houses intermingle a lot in the books.
Right.
You can find a Hufflepuff in the Gryffindor common room. You can find a Ravenclaw in the Slytherin common room. It is very common for these houses to blend. Even when there's a core group of assholes in Slytherin. But there's people that support the Death Eaters in Ravenclaw, in Gryffindor. There is a handful of them in those that believe there should only be true-blooded people in this. And Luna's the only one they show this with, right? And it's bullshit because the unity, we only get the unity of the two schools, of the school, at the end in the movie.
Right.
And you don't get to see that they've been building this bond for fucking 7 books. Right. This is the reason these kids all bound together to protect Hogwarts. It wasn't because McGonagall's a great leader, but it wasn't because McGonagall said so. It was because they were already friends.
Right. Yeah. So the school that I work at
Sorry about the rabbit hole, guys.
No. The school that I work at now, they're not doing it this year, but in the past they've had houses. And obviously it's like a spinoff of Harry Potter, but and the houses are named something different. But there is there's a one that's
a bravery
brave and
loyal and
right.
I got you.
All that. And that to me looks more like what Hogwarts did, because you've got your houses, you've got your team, but it's your team within your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This school is our community, but within that, we all have these traits that build us together to be a stronger person and a stronger, community. And I think that was the purpose of the houses, the 4 original creators of the Hogwarts houses. It wasn't so they could be separate. It was, this is what we believe is a positive character trait. And if all 4 of us, when our forces combine, Captain America, our planet, what is it? Captain Planet.
When our forces combine, we are Captain Planet.
Right. Like, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I really loved that about Neville, that he was just like, yeah, let's fucking go. He's
a good egg. So before we go into movie versus book, I want to hear your favorite character and your least favorite character in the book.
Oh, my favorite character is Sirius Black. And least favorite would be Umbridge.
We meet Tonks for the first time in this book. I like Tonks.
I have an issue with her name.
She's my new favorite character. Nymphadora?
Yes, because I don't think J.K. Rowling knows what a nymph is. It's not it's not kid friendly. That's not, if you study Greek mythology and you know what a nymph is.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
A nymph in general. Wood nymph, sea nymph, any kind of fucking nymph.
Yeah.
They're not no, don't do that. Don't do that.
But I like Tonks. And obviously Umbridge is the worst. So, moving 100%.
On. 100%.
So, book versus movie. A few things that I have written down. Mundungus Fletcher is omitted completely from the movie, right? Mm-hmm. They never mention the reason for Sirius's death, and the reason everyone knows where Sirius is because Creature told
Bellatrix,
which that betrayal is a really big driving point in the book, and he definitely should have been part of the movie. Right. The person that betrayed the DA was not Cho Chang.
No, it was her friend.
It was her friend.
Her friend that she drugged there, that never really wanted to be there.
No. We completely omit Neville's parents, which is a travesty.
That is a travesty of the series for sure.
Yep. Madame Maxine is actually helping Hagrid with the giants. We never talk about that in the movie. And then Firenze is teaching divination, and this is one of my favorite parts in the books that got omitted. Like in the room he created in the castle, it was just super cool.
It was cool, but I actually like what they did with the movie when Trelawney was supposed to be fired, when she was being fired.
Yes.
I liked the way that patched together better.
I liked that the escalation of Umbridge versus Trelawney. Was there anything you loved, hated about the books that you wanted in the movie? I wish they put Neville's parents in there, but I also in that same chapter, I think it was, they Gilderoy Lockhart comes back up again. We see that he's actually... we meet him. Yes, we see him at the hospital.
He's at the hospital. Yeah, and I thought that would have been cool. Although, do you really want to pay Kenneth Branagh?
Autograph? He kept offering autographs.
But the truth is, do you really want to pay Kenneth Branagh for a few days of work? Probably not.
Yes.
So, I mean, that makes sense.
It would have been hilarious to see him just signing everything.
I just want to see him in a robe and a
hospital
gown and slippers. Hey, you want an autograph? And his hair's all disheveled, but he still thinks he's the hot shit.
He doesn't have his cake makeup on.
Yeah.
He doesn't look...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Hey, we did better. 45 minutes on one book, so we've only got 2 left.
So, next is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince, right.
This book, a lot of shit happens. Okay. I think this is the favorite start of a book I have in all of the Harry Potter series. Most of the starts of these books, we start at the Dursleys. I like this book because the Minister of Magic is meeting with the Muggle Prime Minister.
This beginning was very funny.
I loved this beginning so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
This scene is absent from the movies. Mm-hmm. Did you think it was a good omission, or do you think they should have worn the Muggle world in the movie?
Okay, so I thought it was funny to listen to it because I did this Jim Dale audiobook. Yeah. But this is something that, for me, like, this is another plot hole. I don't fucking understand how the Ministry of Magic their building is the middle of downtown fucking London. Right? It's in the middle of downtown fucking London, but somehow nobody knows it exists. Like, I get it. They, like, magicked it or whatever, but fuck that, because there's a whole bunch of people coming in and out of the city who's, like, in robes.
Yeah.
I don't fucking get it. Like, to me, that's not something you can hide. And to me, it also seems like one of those.
Do you pay attention to everybody you walk by on the street when you're in a big city?
Look, the answer to that is no. But let me ask you this: if 100 fucking people walk by in robes carrying wands, do you notice them?
I mean, yeah, but they're scattered. That's the whole point of them. They go in and
they're all going to the same building.
I'm telling you, I don't think people would notice. People are more self-absorbed than that.
They would notice. They literally pop into existence out of nowhere. Whatever. Fine. We'll agree to disagree.
Okay, but did you think it was a good to take it out of the movie? To keep this out?
It was funny, but I don't think it was necessary to, like, the core story.
Okay. We meet Professor Slunghorn for the first time in this book.
Yeah.
He is a collector of famous and talented. Mm-hmm. Dumbledore convinces him to return to Hogwarts to teach potions. Mm-hmm. Of course, this is a trick so he can get some information from him on Voldemort.
Right.
This also means that Snape becomes Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Mm-hmm. What did you think of this staffing change?
Okay.
The shift in ownership.
This, literally the only reason that there is a staffing change is not because we lost a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. They could have fucking had Slughorn come in and teach Defense Against the Dark Arts, because that's what he taught when Lily and James were there. That's what he taught then. No, they make him the potions teacher so we can have the whole story of the Half-Blood Prince. Because if Snape rolls into potions and Harry doesn't have a book and Snape goes to give him a book,
fucking out.
He's not going to give him the book that's his.
Why aren't you prepared for my class, Potter?
Right. And he's not going to give him the book that's the Half-Blood Prince's book. So we wouldn't...
What? Okay.
Why? This whole book is pointless.
Okay, I have an issue with this. Why? For the love of fucking God, if you are creating your own spells, mm-hmm. and you put them in your childhood book, mm-hmm. why would you fucking leave them with the other books? Mm.
You make a good point, Molly Biggs.
Why? If you are that protective of your goddamn freaking privacy, don't put your shit where others can get it.
Right.
In a community fucking pot.
Right. And I don't understand why Slughorn, like, it doesn't make sense to me that Slughorn wasn't just going to teach Defense Against the Dark Arts. He was teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts when Voldemort was there, when Lily and James and Sirius and Lupin were there. Like, why all of a sudden does he need to teach potions? It's literally only so we can get the story of Snape being the Half-Blood Prince.
I said this before. I hate this book.
I do not. This is one of my least favorite of the books because, like, I mean,
moving on.
I'll share more about why I hate this book as we get later into this discussion of this one. But yes, it's not a good book.
Okay, so this next question has me in a rant. So, up to now in this series, Ron, Harry, and Hermione, the Golden Trio, have all loathed Draco. Mm-hmm. Like, loathed him. Mm-hmm. He's pretty awful. In this book, Harry is certain Draco is becoming a Death Eater.
Right.
Ron and Hermione treat Harry like he's crazy.
Right.
And Ron and Hermione treat Harry like he's crazy. What did you think of this change of events? Because, like, it is fucking ridiculous to me that he's like, yeah, we all hate him. I think he's a Death Eater. And they're like, whoa, calm down, Harry. Don't be so insane. Like, it just...
I feel like...
pissed me off so much that all of a sudden they just didn't believe him.
I feel like the only consistent plot line that J.K. Rowling can write is that Harry's friends don't believe him, even though he's absolutely right every single fucking book. And so, to me, why do you even question Harry anymore? He knows all the things. Like, he's fine. But, like...
You believe him when he says his scar hurts and he's seeing Voldemort's dreams. Why does this not make sense to you?
Right. Draco's a mess. Like, I feel like in some ways you could say he's a product of his raising.
Oh, yes.
But this is the book where he made a choice to be bad. Like, he made a choice. Before, he was a bully, but a lot of his bullying behavior was, like, jealousy. That Harry is this, like, you know. He made a choice in this book. He made a choice.
I have a slightly difference of opinion, but let me get to the point here. Draco was not just in front of the Dark Lord, but all of the Death Eaters when he agreed to kill Dumbledore. Mm-hmm. He was literally the only child in a room full of aggressive dark wizards. I feel like he was forced into saying and agreeing that. I don't think ever in my mind he wanted to kill Dumbledore or be this deep in the Death Eaters.
Okay,
just my personal belief. But he definitely did agree to it, and he definitely, did those things.
Whether he wanted to do it or not, and definitely he was still scared to do it, whether he wanted to do it or not, he did make a choice.
Yeah, he's a child, though.
His parents didn't say that he had to do it. As a matter of fact, doesn't this book start with his mom and Bellatrix
because she didn't want him to do it.
She didn't want him to do it. So he made that choice. His dad isn't there. His dad is in prison at this point.
But it's more of what his dad would want him to do.
I don't know that I agree that his dad would want that for him.
Y'all settle this for us in the comments.
Because do
you think Draco wanted to do this, or was he forced into it?
I think he wanted to.
And we're going to disagree on it.
You fight it out with us in the comments.
Fight it out with us in the comments. See, tell us who you believe. Or who you believe. Whose side are you on? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is where we're up to Liquid Luck. What did you think of this potion's, like, driving force in this damn book?
It's predictable.
It is.
And I don't know why Harry didn't just use it sooner. You could have cut out like 400 pages of this book.
For sure.
Like, hey, I've got this potion. Drink it. Oh, problem solved.
It's just... I get the point. There is the scene in the movie where he drinks the Liquid Luck and is like stumbling around and randomly gets into the greenhouse. I found the actor Daniel Radcliffe endearing in those scenes, right? Yeah. I appreciated him as an actor. Now the storyline, I don't know why it's necessary.
No.
Where am I at? What do you think about Dumbledore dragging Harry to destroy all these Horcruxes, but omitting a bunch of information from him?
Like we said last episode, Dumbledore needs a better adult to check him. Like, it probably should be McGonagall, but he, like, has obviously gotten to the point where he's like, I can't tell her things because she'll tell me no.
Stop me.
It's like when your kids know, don't ask mom or dad for that because they'll definitely say no. And I think I plugged this last week too, but the Chan Wills Instagram page and TikTok page, she has so many videos where she like calls out Dumbledore like she's McGonagall, and I'm like, that's
accurate.
Yes.
She's very funny.
She's very funny.
So Draco is tasked by Voldemort to kill Dumbledore, and Snape agrees to be a secret keeper and help protect him till it is time. Mm-hmm. He also brings Death Eaters into the school, proving Harry is right. Mm-hmm. This all leads up to Dumbledore's death at the hands of Snape because Draco can't. How do you feel about all this? What did you think of this ending?
I mean, I already knew Dumbledore was going to die because these books have been out forever, and even though I hadn't read them, like, I exist in culture. So I'm a human, so I knew Dumbledore would die.
And you know pop culture. You follow pop culture enough to say so.
Right. So I knew that was happening. I wasn't surprised that Draco wasn't able to go through with it.
I wasn't either.
At the end of the day, he's not brave. He's a
child.
The other thing was, I was pretty certain that somehow Snape had planned this with Dumbledore. What I thought it was they had spent the whole book talking about occlumency. And I thought that Dumbledore basically told him with his mind, you need to kill me.
But it backdates, right? Dumbledore knew he was dying.
Right. But we don't find that out, of course, until Deathly Hallows.
Right.
But I had a feeling that it was somehow planned. I mean, I wasn't really sad when Dumbledore died. I know people like that is a lot of people's favorite character. He's not my favorite character, so I really didn't care. I mean, I guess I sort of cared, but I don't know. I mean, really, he did a lot of stupid things and he used Harry as a pawn, and he should have told Harry about his life long beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
He was just not he wasn't good. And this is my biggest complaint about this book. And I'm going to directly read what I wrote on Goodreads for my review of this.
Wait.
How to be a good writer, according to J.K. Rowling. If you've spent an entire series establishing that spells have to be said out loud, but you need something to happen silently, 6 books in, make sure that you have the kids learn at the beginning of that book, even though there was no indication thus far that this was possible. If you are writing in first person, but the scene doesn't involve that character, just have them frozen silent through the entire have them frozen through a silent spell through the entire
and put the invisible cloak on them, don't forget.
Yeah. No, he was already in the invisible cloak, and then just silently Dumbledore freezes him, because that we have never established that it is possible to do spells silently. But it wouldn't have worked in the end, so she was like, oh, well, I better have this one quick scene at the beginning where all of a sudden they can do spells silently.
Dumbledore's death, while I'm not a fan of him as a character, means, yeah, see, your phone agrees with me. Dumbledore's death, to me, means a change in their world, right? Mm-hmm. It means the children are no longer children. Mm-hmm. They are now about to fight in a war to protect their world.
Right.
And it's a symbol. It's it's a death of their innocence, right?
But to me, what happens at the end of that doesn't make sense, because instead of Snape sticking around to tell what actually happened to people who have, well, I mean, he and McGonagall never got along, but people who have known him and seen him evolve, the fact that Dumbledore never told them that this was the plan, the fact that he runs away with the Death Eaters and basically rejoins them for the last book, to me, that completely destroys any sort of work that he's done. Why didn't he stay and defend himself and explain, look, if I didn't do it, they were going to make Draco do it, and that was going to destroy him. That was going to destroy every ounce of innocence he has left.
Yeah.
I know that Dumbledore was dying anyway. He told me to kill him. But instead we get this
runs off and acts like nothing happens.
And instead we get this reveal that he's the Half-Blood Prince. And you know what? Fuck this. This is another thing that bothers me about this series. There are a lot of characters in this series that are Muggle-born or are mudbloods. Voldemort is one of them. This is very comparable to Nazi Germany, right? Yep. Adolf Hitler rose to power saying that the Jews were the problem and that non-Germans who were not Aryan, so blonde with blue eyes, are the problem. And yet Hitler was of Jewish descent. He had black hair and brown eyes, and he wasn't even born in Germany. So that's basically Voldemort. And how is Snape just all of the development that he did, all the growth that he did to leave the dark side, he just throws it all away.
You good, sis?
Oh, man. Here's my problem with this, okay? I don't like this series, but I have so many thoughts on it that it makes it sound like I like the series. But I don't, I promise. It's not like I watched all 8 movies and read all 7 books and like it. I still don't like it, but I have reasons. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Need a minute?
And if Snape is so good at potions, why would he ever want to be the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher? I mean, he should be the potions teacher. He's the best at potions. Would you have him teaching Transfiguration when McGonagall can turn into a cat? No. Should he be teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts when he is a Death Eater? Fucking no.
Oh my god, I'm gonna piss myself. Stop.
I think I'm done.
My face hurts from trying not to laugh hard into the mic.
I think I'm done. I think it's fine now.
So we're going to talk book versus movie.
All right.
There's a few things that were omitted that piss Molly off. Dumbledore's funeral.
They don't have that in the movie. I don't remember. That's not in the movie.
If they do, it's like a real scathing thing. It's real quick. Meeting the meeting of the 2 ministers. We already talked about that. Mm-hmm. The whole development of Lupin and Tonks' relationship.
All right, listen. Tonks needs to leave her late cousin's husband alone. Like, you don't just get to collect him because your cousin died and like Lupin.
Small towns, man.
Lupin and Sirius, like, they had to have been in a relationship. Like,
yeah.
There's just way too much evidence.
It just reads too well. Like, it isn't. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to do a bell for this one.
Oh my gosh. And me too. Because I know what you're going to say. Me too.
Doesn't fucking burn down. Never.
Never.
There's never come.
Right. When that happened in the movie, I was like, because Tom, I don't know if I actually told you this, but Tom had already seen all of the movies before I read the books and saw any of the movies. When that happened, I was like, that doesn't fucking happen in the book. And he's like, what do you mean that doesn't happen in the book? I was like, Molly Weasley does not stand outside of her house and watch it burn. Like, nobody comes to the burrow. What the hell?
No.
I mean, they do eventually come to the burrow, but not in this book.
Not in this book. Dumbledore freezes Harry in the book, not in the movie. He just tells him to sit. Like, Harry freezes in fear in the movie.
Well, and he's like underneath, and like Snape's there with him,
right?
Too, which was weird, right?
The book explains more about what's going on with Snape than the movie does. Mm-hmm. So the movie's a lot more confusing about Snape's storyline.
The book explains the whole Half-Blood Prince thing, and the movie never does. It never really talks about how Snape is like,
right, exactly,
like a mudblood, or that he is very good at potions. Although we do get the weird scene where Harry attacks Draco and like makes him bleed crazy.
Yeah, which was.
But like, how the fuck did he learn how to do that? Because of the fucking book.
Characters you loved and hated in the book or movie, in the movies. God damn it! The characters you loved in the book and hated.
I really hope this is no one's first episode because we are a shit show today.
No, it was amazing. It's amazing.
I really didn't like this book.
Right.
It's one of my least favorite. It's one of my least favorite. And so I don't really have a favorite. Molly Weasley is always my favorite.
I don't like Slunghorn as a character. I think he's slimy. I think he's great. Himself. I love the parties. I love the collection of the kids. I love that his claim to fame is other people's claims to fame. Because that is a real life character trait. There are people out there that do that are collectors of others. Yeah. And it's fucking wild that it was written into these.
To me, I like that you can see another element of a Slytherin, because with Dolores Umbridge, we get that she's a Slytherin, but she's like wearing her pink cardigans. Mm-hmm. And then we get a Slytherin who's like kind of like Gilderoy Lockhart in a way. He's like a blowhard, right? And he's played in the movies by Jim Broadbent. who is fantastic. He's an amazing Slunghorn. You would know him if you've not seen the movies or you're not sure where you know him from. You would know him as Bridget Jones's dad.
Yes.
He also is in Moulin Rouge. He's the owner of the Moulin Rouge. Right. And he's just a fantastic character actor. Like, he's just really a great character actor. So it's a brilliant cast for him, for sure. I would have liked to have seen more of him just because I like that actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
On to our final book.
Yay.
Deathly Hallows.
Hey, we're only a little bit over the hour mark. We're doing good, folks. We're doing good. Thanks for sticking with us.
This is the end of the series. The
Yay.
pinnacle of it all.
Yay! Praise Jesus.
Holy Spirit,
activate. Holy Spirit, activate.
Holy Spirit, activate. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, man.
All right, where were we? This book doesn't start at Privet Drive. It starts with Snape telling the Dark Lord when Harry's going to be moved from Privet Drive.
Right.
In chapter 2 and 3, we finally make it to Privet Drive, where we learn that the Dursleys are leaving, and so are Harry. Mm-hmm. All this for their final protection. Mm-hmm. Our final moments are with the Dursleys. We get a kind act of farewell from Dudley. Mm-hmm. What did you think about this?
I don't care.
You don't care? You don't care about this final, no. You don't think there was anything redeeming about it at all for Dudley?
I don't think they deserve to have redeeming qualities.
I mean, that's okay.
That's an opinion I'm allowed to have. That's an opinion I'm allowed to have. To me, Dudley is like Draco.
Yeah.
They're very similar. Dudley is the Draco of the Muggle world.
Yeah.
And Draco is the Dudley of the Wizarding world.
Bullying is going to get him further in life.
Right.
But
when you grow up, you learn that that's not the case.
No. I have issues with his aunt and uncle at the end. Mm-hmm. They are treating this like it is this big inconvenience. They're so mad. And everything that is being done is for their protection. And they're being awful to Harry, right? Harry is doing everything.
Well, they're always awful to Harry.
Everybody in the Order of Phoenix, they are making time to protect these two. And they don't have to.
No.
It is just... Right. It is just... It's one final selfish act. And I felt like Dudley coming up to shake Harry's hand and say goodbye was him going, oh shit. My cousin could die.
Yeah.
He is the only person that has been by my side since I was born. Right. And he could die. Right. I can't have him dying knowing that I hated him.
I think it was really shitty that they were just like, okay, we'll just go ahead and bounce and leave you abandoned in the house before the people who are going to protect you come.
Yeah. But it's just... And
then knowing that...
It's a fuck situation.
Going forward... towards the end of the book, learning about Petunia's actual relationship with Lily and how she wanted to be a witch as well.
Yeah.
To me, it makes me dislike the Dursleys even more.
It's jealousy, right? She's hating a child over jealousy. It's...
How do you not love the orphaned child of your sister?
I don't...
Like, you're a real piece of shit if you don't love the orphan child of your sister.
I don't know. The kid did nothing, right? We cannot hate. It's like parents who hate their children because it's their ex's child too, right?
Right.
Anyways, I'm going to go on a tangent. We're
getting off topic, but I don't care about the Dursleys. I don't care about them.
When it comes time to the move of Harry... This scene in the movie and book is one of my favorites with all the doppelgangers.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's really funny.
It's very funny.
However, it turns tragically pretty quickly. As they move Harry, Hagrid, his devoted friend, dies. Mm. And we then learn that Mad-Eye Moody is also killed.
Right.
Hagrid's death is one in the fandom that not a lot of people seen coming, and is one of the hardest for a lot of fans.
Right.
What did you think about this scene and these deaths?
I cried when Hedwig died. So there are 3 deaths in this series that made me cry. And one was Sirius, obviously, and one with Hedwig, and the other one we'll get to in shortly. I don't really care about Mad Eye dying because, like, he's supposed to be like a character that we really like, but the truth is that the book that we get to know him the best in, it's not him. It's Barty Crouch or Crotch or whatever the fuck his name is.
Barty Crouch Jr. Barty Crouch Jr.
Barty Crotch is a better name, I think.
Because he's crotchety.
Yeah. Well, but so for me, Mad Eye dying, like, I didn't have a connection to him because I liked the person who was Mad Eye in the first book, but that wasn't actually Mad Eye.
Did you know? Fun fact. One of the actors that plays a Weasley is actually the son of the actor that plays Mad Eye Moody.
Which one of the Weasleys? You can link it below, Molly. It's not important.
It's going to bother me. But
that's interesting, though.
I'm going to say his name wrong. Dohnall, Dohnall. He played Bill Weasley.
Oh, okay.
He marries Fleur. He plays Bill, but that's Fleur. His son.
Oh, they kind of look alike now that I think about it. Yeah. But Hedwig dying, I didn't see that coming. I thought that was really sad. I don't like the way they changed that in the movie because, like, Hedwig comes back to, like, fight. When he dies in the book, it's like...
Hedwig's a girl.
I'm sorry. When she dies in the book, she didn't fucking do anything. She was, like, in her cage, and then all of a sudden she was, like, dead.
Right.
And honestly, that was kind of Hagrid's fault that she died, but whatever.
Right. It's definitely Hagrid's fault, but he was trying to protect her because that's what Hagrid does.
First of all, why the fuck would Hagrid be the person to take Harry? He's not allowed to do magic. He's not allowed to fucking do magic. You don't put the person that you're trying to save with the one person who can't fucking fight back.
Let me know when you're done.
Why?
Just let me know when you're done, and I'll join back in.
I'm done.
Okay.
But seriously, though, Molly.
I think it's symbolism. He brought him to Privet. He's taking him out of Privet. It's
fuck symbolism, because that's not logical. It's not logical. All right. Sorry.
Dumbledore probably had it pre-planned.
Dumbledore's an idiot. Nobody should follow his plans.
Eventually, we make it to the Burrow.
Right.
For Bill and Fleur's wedding. Mm-hmm. While at the Burrow, the minister comes to read Dumbledore's will. Mm-hmm. He leaves Ron the Deluminator. Mm-hmm. Hermione, he leaves a book, The Tale of Beetle the Bard, which is a children's
it's like a fable book.
It's fairy
it's
tales.
Sort of it's like Grimm, the Grimm stories.
Yeah, Mother Goose.
Right, right.
He also leaves Harry his first golden snitch that he caught in the Sword in Gryffindor, which he's not legally allowed to give him, right?
Right.
Did you find these gifts odd? Because I have a tirade about it, but...
No, I didn't find them odd because Dumbledore always knows what Dumbledore wants to do. He just doesn't fucking tell anybody else what he wants to do.
We learn later that all these had a purpose. Dumbledore, again, knowing the future and not sharing it with anybody. Fucking rude. But, okay, I'm gonna... Here for a second. Throughout the series, we see Dumbledore have a relationship with Harry. He has built a rapport. He mentors him. He coaches him. He gives him gifts. Mm-hmm. He doesn't fucking interact with Ron or Hermione ever.
Right.
Why the fuck would he leave them in his will?
Right. Well, he didn't because he knew. He knew it. I mean, he did it because he knew what they would need. And he told Harry to tell them, and he knows Harry needs them. That's the point, that he knows Harry needs them. But you know how this series could be so much shorter? Hi, Harry, you're a wizard. You're not 11 that I'm telling you this. You are a baby when I'm telling you this. You need to fight an evil entity as you get older. So learn how to be a fucking wizard. The grown-ups are going to spend the next 15 years killing all these Horcruxes so that you can defeat the bad guy in the end.
Cool.
That's the whole story. Why don't you just tell him the story? Why don't you just tell him the story?
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. And I mean, you can use the comparison of like Star Wars. Like Luke didn't necessarily know who he was. But Yoda also didn't really hide it. Once he needed Luke to do the things,
then he told him the things.
He told him the things.
Right. But I don't know. A lie of omission is still a lie, I feel like, especially when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Dumbledore is
especially because lying. So many people are going to die because of the lies.
Let's move on to the wedding, shall we?
I guess.
Bill and Fleur get married. Mm-hmm. And then the wedding is attacked by the Death Eaters. Mm-hmm. The Death Eaters scream. The Ministry has fallen. They are literally trying to just kill anybody they can at this point. Mm-hmm. Ron, Hermione, and Harry barely escape. Thank God, because Hermione Granger was fucking prepared.
Right.
The only reason they escape is because Hermione was prepared.
That's also why they needed a woman in their group.
Yeah.
Because no man is packing a big bag like that. No. That's not happening.
The Black family, and they make it eventually to the Black family house where they start to work out a plan on how to destroy Horcruxes. It is a dark time for the trio, but we see a shift in Kreacher as he helps them find the locket and then make plans to get it from Dolores Umbridge. What did you think about the Golden Trio's time at the Black House?
I don't care. I could have done without a lot of the beginning of this book. Really, you only need the last maybe like third of this book.
Well, we need the storyline to get to the Horcrux.
No, you don't.
But
no, you don't.
How do we get it then?
That doesn't even need to be a thing. Okay, she has not spent the past 6 books establishing that the Horcruxes are a thing. She all of a sudden decided in the Half-Blood Prince, oh fuck, I need to have a storyline for my last book, so we'll just have Dumbledore find this ring and like his hand will turn black and then he'll die. And then we can talk about what that all means. The diary, the Tom Riddle diary, that's never established as a Horcrux or what a Horcrux is until the end of the books. Like the end of the series.
It's Dumbledore hiding things from everyone again. Dumbledore knew the whole time. Dumbledore is purposely keeping secrets.
A lot of what happens at the beginning...
And making life harder for everyone.
A lot of what happens at the beginning and middle of this book is complete, unnecessary nonsense.
So moving on.
I love that Molly is not going to engage.
Because there's no point in arguing. It'll be a 15-hour episode, and we don't need a 15-hour episode.
I did
and you're allowed your opinions.
I did warn you that a lot of my thoughts on this book were, I don't care.
I know, but we still got to get through them.
All right.
When the Golden Trio... I'm sorry I'm forcing you to do it. When the Golden...
When we're done with this episode, I'm done with the series. So.
I know. When the Golden Trio barely escapes, we spend a lot of time with them in the woods, which is just exhausting. Mm. The book drags here, and they're just trying to figure out next steps. I will say kudos to Hermione for being overly prepared and having this fancy bag. Mm. Was this a part of the book you disliked too?
Yeah, it wasn't necessary.
Ron runs off. Harry has visions, and the locket pretty much ruins their lives. It feels like an unnecessary, 5 chapters or some shit like that?
Yeah.
It's just unnecessary.
J.K. Rowling needs a better editor. Don't let her make 700-page books when she only needs to make a 200-page book. Why are you letting her do that?
Next question. Harry and Hermione go to Harry's hometown for Voldemort's... where Voldemort died, to see if they can find another Horcrux, because just maybe, possibly, who knows. However, all they find is Nagini, and Harry breaks his wand.
I mean, technically, they did find a Horcrux, and Nagini is a Horcrux.
Right, but they don't know that, right?
They don't know that.
And Harry breaks his wand. To me, this was where the book started to feel hopeless for Harry. What did you think?
All right. His wand.
It was the deep breath for me. Can't continue on.
All right, his wand breaking is another crack in the story that she's creating about wands. The world that she has created, the wand chooses the wizard.
Right.
The first time that this is disrupted is when Ron has a hand-me-down wand. How does it work for him? When Harry is trying out all these wands, none of them work for him because they're not the wand that chooses him. So how the fuck in this book does everybody just trade wands? Like, I don't need this wand. I can just choose this wand. Doesn't matter. I can use some random guy on the streets wand. Let's just beat up that homeless wizard and we just take his wand. It's fine. It'll work. It doesn't make any sense. And then she starts some sort of lore about how there's a wand, the one wand to rule them all. And
the Elder Wand, yes.
Right. Exactly. The one wand to rule them all. And anyone can use that if you defeat the wizard. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't match with the world and lore you created. You created this story.
It contradicts her storyline, yes.
Yes! Molly, you're a writer. Would you do that to your fans?
I mean, I fuck shit up all the time.
But you wouldn't publish it like that. You wouldn't I don't understand. She created this story. If you are going to break the rules within it, why not just change the rules from the fucking beginning?
Valid point. Valid point. So Harry's wand's broken.
Oh, man.
So the Sword of Gryffindor magically appears in a pond near their campsite.
Mm-hmm.
This scene, Ron magically appears back in their lives like it's no big deal, right? Like, he's just like, oh, hey, by the way, I went home.
Right.
I told people, I kind of like, yeah. And then, like, he tells them about the radio station. He kind of fucking apologizes. Not really. And then they use the sword to destroy the locket.
Mm-hmm.
Snape did all this. We learn later Snape did all this to help them, right?
Right. Well, Dumbledore told him to.
Right. Again. Fucking Dumbledore. What did you think of finally them getting to destroy this Horcrux? Like, this has been, like, dragging this goddamn storyline along so long. Like, what did you think of that? Like, it was, like, almost a relief to me listening to it, being like, oh my god, finally, can we fucking move on?
Right. No, I agree with you. I like that Ron comes back. I like that Ron is the one that destroys it because it is the Horcrux that was, like, the most affecting him.
Right, because it was definitely making him see things. He thought Hermione and him, like, were hooking up and, like...
Right. Also, related note, this scene in the movie where Hermione and Harry are naked and kissing each other, this is a children's movie. They are supposed to be 17 years old. Why the fuck are they naked in the woods? No. Anyway. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But Ron's a dick. He destroys the Horcrux. We learn about the radio station, which I thought was a nice ad in the books.
I like that Lupin is on one of the radio episodes and, like, talks about how Harry was right, and that whole storyline was left out of the movies, but I did like that storyline a little bit. Also, it made me not like Lupin, so I don't know if I maybe really liked it. I don't know.
So then we make it closer to the Burrow, where we go and find Mr. Lovegood. And he's going to tell us, the Golden Trio, about the Deathly Hallows.
Right. Because Dumbledore just couldn't fucking leave them instructions. So.
No. What did you think about this storyline, the Deathly Hallows?
Like, I feel like I know Mr. Lovegood better than I do because we don't really know him until this book, but I just feel like... But
we know his daughter.
Because we know Luna. I understand why he would, like, betray them because, like, Luna is all he has.
Yeah.
But it also makes me think that Luna is a better version of him because she wouldn't have done that.
No, she definitely wouldn't.
And she wouldn't have wanted him to do that. She's a better version of what he is. She's a better version.
And every time I meet him in the books again, I mean, his wife died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Luna is the only good thing he has left in his life.
Right.
And he's fucking batty, man. Like,
right.
Luna keeps him grounded. Luna, of all people.
Keeps
that man grounded.
Right.
So, I see his betrayal.
Right.
I see his reasoning. He's going insane.
Right.
And he doesn't want to lose what's left of his brain. And I get it. Right. But he knows Harry is the chosen one. He's fucking written about it in his paper. Mm-hmm. So betraying him now just feels wrong. Slimy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody has a breaking point, right?
Yeah.
His daughter was his. So, I mean, I get it. But it doesn't feel like the guy who would defy the Ministry of Magic and publish the things that he really...
Right.
It doesn't feel like that guy.
No. And I feel like that's because this book happens over a really long time.
An unnecessary amount of time.
Like, it's a year plus, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not really super crystal clear in the writing or in the movie. Mm-hmm. And the only way we learn this in the movie is, like, Hermione's hair keeps getting longer and longer, right?
I didn't notice that, but to me, it's still the same amount of time as the other books because Neville would have been in his last year at Hogwarts, and he's still there when they get back to Hogwarts. So it's got to be in the same
amount of time. They're trapped-ish, I think. But anyway, all right, so we're back in the fucking woods.
Back in the fucking woods.
The Golden Trio gets caught.
Right.
And dragged to Malfoy Manor.
Right.
Which has become Death Eater Central, right?
Right.
They're thrown in the basement with a goblin, Luna, and Ollivander. Now, we knew Luna was there, but did you expect him to... I didn't expect Ollivander to be down there. Did you?
Well, I kind of thought Luna would be at Azkaban. I didn't know she would be, like, at the Malfoy's house, but no, I thought at this point Ollivander was dead. And wasn't somebody with... Who was the person that was with the trio when they were caught? He dated Ginny at one point.
Oh, tall kid. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't think. He was also with them, but
yes.
But yeah, I was surprised to actually see Ollivander because I was certain that he had already killed him. Like, I don't know why he was still alive. Oh my goodness.
We later learned it was to fix, he's there to fix a wand. And he's trying to explain to the Voldemort that he cannot fix the wand. The wand's unfixable. So he's just going to hold on to him until...
That doesn't seem like Voldemort... It doesn't seem like something Voldemort would do, though. When somebody can't do what Voldemort wants them to do, he just kills them.
But he can't kill him because his wand's fucking jacked.
Oh, that's true.
So, and Voldemort is one of those people that are so cocky that they have to do it themselves, right? He's not going to let Bellatrix or somebody else kill this man who pissed him off for him.
I guess.
So, the next scene I want to talk about is the Hermione Bellatrix torture scene.
Mm-hmm.
This scene was very hard. It was hard as a reader. It's hard in the books. It's rough, right? And Bellatrix doesn't hold back. She is very awful to Hermione.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt your question, but I don't think that we get enough of the torture from a perspective that we can actually say that it's bad. Right. All we get is hearing her screams for the basement because J.K. Rowling never switches point of views and Harry isn't there. And so I think that probably the torture was much worse than what we actually see
in the book. Yeah.
But I didn't feel affected by it because we're not getting a firsthand account.
Now we know the reason she picked her was because she was Muggle-born.
Right.
This actually, I'm going to share a link. This was actually one of the hardest scenes for the cast members to film in the movies. Mm-hmm. It was really hard on Helen Bowman Carter and
Emma Watson.
Yeah. But can you see why?
Like, I feel like, okay. The article that you're going to share, they mentioned how much of it was cut out.
Yeah.
And to me, if we would have seen all of that, then I would understand why it was so hard for them, but not really because they cut out so much of it. To me, I'm going to use The Hunger Games here again. Suzanne Collins does an amazing job conveying the torture that Peeta and Johanna experience without actually the first-hand account. We know through the stories they tell
how broken they are.
We know through how Peeta like can't really function. We know that even at the end of that series, Peeta, even when he and Katniss are together and married, that he still has moments where he like grabs the back of a chair.
PTSD.
Exactly. That is the true craft of an artist author right there. That she can create those torture scenes, and even though we don't see them on the first-hand account, we know what happened and we feel it, and it scares us.
Mm-hmm.
Rowling is not that skilled. I know that she's a billionaire. I know that she has 7 books under her and the huge Harry Potter wizarding world, and she has the spinoffs and she has the other couple books that she's written. But to me, she is not that skilled. She's not that skilled.
It was, I mean, I'm going to say they're good books. I'm not going to say they're the best books, but they are good books. But I think timing was important.
Right.
When it came to how big this fandom became. And you know what I mean? And the symbolism that the fans have picked out from it, that is all fan derived. I really think the things we see as fans in these books are things we've decided, we've picked, not her intentions.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. Dobby's death is awful.
Awful.
He dies a hero, getting everyone out of Malfoy Manor.
Mm-hmm.
His full storyline has been completely omitted from the films.
It's really diminished, for sure.
In my mind, this is a tragedy, being that he is such a pinnacle character from the moment he steps into these books to the moment of his death. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I mean, his death made me understand why people liked Dobby, because before then I didn't care. I don't understand how he's magically able to escape the basement and nobody else is. And you can't say it's because they didn't have wands, because we learned that you don't need a wand to do magic. It's just easier. So to me, that doesn't make sense. But his death, I feel like it's one that it's one of the deaths that's so unnecessary that it's necessary to the story. Right. Like it's it's like Hedwig dying. Yeah. Like it's so unnecessary that happened.
It's so sad. And you're like, but why did it have to happen? And you're like, oh, because I'm sad. That's why it had to happen.
Right. Oh, right. Right. I have to feel something.
Right. I'm going to do these next 2 questions out of order, actually.
Oh, that's fine. I'm listening to you.
Actually, no, I'm not. JK. Not Rowling. Just regular JK. Breaking into Gringotts and getting the Horcrux from Bellatrix vault.
Uh-huh.
And they got to get Helga Hufflepuff's cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Ron and Hermione eventually destroy it in the Chamber of Secrets with the Basilisk's Fang.
Mm-hmm.
I have beef because this is when they finally have their first kiss. It is super unnecessary, poorly timed.
It's like worst timing in the movie because they kiss in the Chamber of Secrets, while shit's blowing up. So bad.
And that was like the last time somebody was in there. Harry and Ginny almost died. So
right.
Not super romantic thing.
Right. Them kissing in the book actually happens in front of Harry, because that's the only way that we would know it happened, because she doesn't know how to write things that. So
I mixed that up.
But it doesn't make sense that they would. No. I mean, I guess in the heat of battle, there's a lot of emotions happening. I don't know that too many soldiers would turn and kiss each other, but I am finally glad. I am glad that they finally did. We
built up to 7 books to it, man.
I mean, they very clearly loved Ron loved Hermione from jump. He didn't understand that he did, but he did. Hermione, I don't think Hermione felt the same way about Ron from jump, because Ron was kind of a dick to her, but
Ron's always a dick. That's the title of these books. Harry Potter and Ronald Weasley, the asshole. Teenage boys are jerks. We know this.
It's true. But I am glad they finally got together. They're adorable.
MFEO. Made for each other.
Oh, you cut out, so I didn't hear you.
MFEO.
Yeah. Or the OTP, the one true pair?
I don't know about that, but
you don't think so? No, I think the OTP is probably Sirius and Lupin.
There is a fan. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here. Mm-hmm. There's a fan-derived theory about Hermione and Fred. And this is based off. Okay, and I can find some links to this storyline and like support to this storyline. Mm-hmm. But J.K. said at one point before the tragedy that is Fred Weasley happens, she intended Fred and Hermione to be together.
I don't think they would be as good. I
don't think she would have become the Ministry of Magic.
How did she become the?
Anyways, we'll get there. Okay, anyways, moving on.
I think if she would have ended up with anybody else, especially another Weasley, it would have destroyed Ron.
Oh, facts. It would have broke that family apart. Harry has another vision, and they're off to Hogwarts again. Mm-hmm. Or kind of, sort of. Mm-hmm. So they make their way into Hogsmeade, and like they're trying to figure out a way to get into Hogwarts when Dumbledore's brother, who's been there the whole fucking time we're just learning about.
Right, how?
Brings them into his, like... And then we get this whole goddamn storyline about their sister, and then, like... Which, that storyline's completely unnecessary. And then, like, they're finally reunited with their classmates. Mm-hmm. We learn that Neville has been leading Dumbledore's army in Harry's absence. Was this a surprise to you?
I love Molly. What the fuck? I love when Neville just like rolls out of the painting and he's like, "Hey guys, let's go! I got Dumbledore's army. We're in the Worm of Requirement. I got this shit handled. Like, come on!" Like, I love it. He just like rolls out like, "Hey guys, how's it going? I've been handling shit in your absence, so come on, let's handle this shit."
And like he's just like really like he's rattling off a grocery list. He's just telling them
no big deal.
Everything that's been going on, and very matter of fact, like, okay, well, we got most of the Ravenclaws, and like that was really good. And then we had to rescue some of the Hufflepuffs, and it was like a whole thing, and like, he's just like going on, and like Harry and the trios is like, like
NBD guys, but like I've got all of the DA, and like we've also recruited some new members, and I've been training them, and it's all handled. But like, let's go fuck shit up. Come on,
because like Snape's ruining things, guys. Did you know this? And we probably should do something about it.
It's so fantastic that you all just spent 6 months in the fucking woods, but can we go handle shit now? Come on.
It just makes you love Neville more.
It does!
It makes you love Neville more.
That's the story I want to read. I want to read Neville training the DA.
You know, that's... Okay, JK,
it's gotta be fanfic somewhere.
You know what? I want to hear all these books from Neville's point of view.
Yes!
Like, oh my god. Fucking Harry, Ron, and Hermione are trying to sneak out again. They keep getting us in trouble. I just want to make it through my first year of Hogwarts. Right. And then Neville, like, so on and so forth.
Neville Longbottom and the Time I Stood Up to Harry Potter. That should be the first book. Love
it. So many Horcruxes, so little time. Were any of these Horcruxes a surprise to you?
I think we're supposed to be surprised that Harry himself is one, but like I kind of already figured that his scar was something. Right. And also like I know enough pulp culture and I've seen enough like things where
we knew.
I knew. But I think we're supposed to be surprised that Harry's a Horcrux too.
Right.
Maybe that's why he's so fucking awful. I don't know.
I'm going to tirade for a second. Out of all the things Voldemort could put himself into, why did he think he had the right to put himself into not just Helga Hufflepuff's cup, but then the Ravenclaw crown? Or was it a crown or a necklace? That doesn't matter.
It was a crown.
But it's the crown. Like, who is he to think he's like, you know what? I'm so fucking important at Hogwarts. I'm installing bits of myself into pieces that are Hogwarts history. It's bullshit. There's other things she could have made that were not Hogwarts related.
I think the reason he chose those things is because It was a way of establishing himself as the best of all wizards.
Right.
I don't know why he didn't pick something of Dumbledore's to make a Horcrux, because Dumbledore is arguably one of the best wizards ever.
Right.
But it makes sense to me that he picked the leaders of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
He was trying to establish himself as the best.
It just...
And own it. Like, I now own Helga Hufflepuff's cup. Like, that's mine now.
It feels stupid.
I mean, the whole series feels stupid, but...
Near the end of the book...
Moving on.
We have several terrible deaths.
Yeah.
Fred's death, I think, was the most surprising and painful for me.
Same.
We were there... Me? Was there anyone that died at the battle that hurt your heart?
Fred. And when he died, when I was reading the book, I started crying like a fucking baby. Like, that one hit me harder than any death in the entire series. And then I texted you and Katie and was like, Fred dies? And Katie texted back, there it is. Because she knew I was at that part and she was waiting for me to like...
What did I say? I went, yeah. I have
honestly, the reason that one affected me so hard was not just because I love the Weasleys. Like, we've established that. Like, they are my favorite characters in this book. It was, that was an absolutely necessary death, in my opinion. You have to have somebody die who's in the Weasley family, because
it'll break
everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, Lupin dying will break some people, but
Tonks dying will break some people. Like,
Fred dying breaks everyone. Molly's reaction, the description of her laying her body over his body and weeping. Like, I feel like I want to cry now talking about that, because that is like, this is why I love Molly Weasley. This is why I love Molly Weasley, because she's a mom first and foremost.
She loves
her baby. That's her baby. Yep. Doesn't matter that he was a grown man. That's her baby.
So, in the major deaths that we talk about, Tonks and Lupin both die.
Yeah, which is sad because their son,
right?
They have a new son, right? Teddy.
Colin Creevey dies, and Lavender Brown.
Don't care about either one of them.
Right, some fans do. Snape, who gets a fucking redemption arc.
Okay. Molly. They're in the middle of a fucking war, and all of a sudden Harry's like, I'm just going to take a hot second here and go enter the memories of Snape. And then we get this huge, like, redeeming story arc for him. That's completely ridiculous. I don't believe any of it. I'm going to say something here. I'm going to say something
that may get me my fandom pass taken away. I may get a lot of hate for this as a fan. Severus Snape does not deserve a redemption arc.
He does not deserve a redemption arc. No.
Severus Snape does not get to be mourned.
Right.
Severus Snape is not a good human being.
No.
He is like Peter Pettigrew. He was playing the line, and as soon as the line went one way, he's like, I was being a spy. Dumbledore likes me. And then as soon as the line moved the other way, all of a sudden, he's fine. I get he loved Lily. I do not doubt there are people that love their first childhood love and carry that love the rest of their lives. That does not mean this man, just because he loved Lily, does not mean he gets to be redeemed in any fucking way. He was a terrible human being to all children, not just Harry. He treated Neville like shit. He treated everyone like shit.
Yeah.
So he can go fuck himself and his redemption story. I said it. Put it in print.
Right. Also, here's another example of Rowling breaking the rules that she set. In order to get the memory, they have to, like, pull it out of their ear, right? But somehow he can cry it out.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay, so I do want to say, I saw this really funny meme, headcanon type thing about him, and I thought I'd share it. Since we're talking about Snape. It's about him and Luna. And imagine him trying to teach Luna Lovegood's potions, and he's being like his normal snarky self, and Luna's not getting the social cues of the nastiness, and she's Luna. Just like, and he comes over and like, Lovegood, why are you not doing this potion? Oh, sir, there was really bad energy, so I released the Nargles, and then I rehabilitated this flower. It'll look nice in your hair. And like she puts it in his hair, and Snape doesn't know how to react to true, honest innocence. So all he does is just let her be and walks away. And I feel like that is the most authentic Luna Lovegood like reaction. Like, I think the only reason she did good in potions is because he's just like, that bitch doesn't know what we're talking about. I'm just gonna leave her alone.
She's also a Ravenclaw, so she's really smart. So you have to give her that too.
She's like a flighty Ravenclaw who's just like,
I love that about her.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Sorry,
dude, we're rolling on 2 hours here. We got to wrap this shit up.
We did that last time. We're fine.
We're gonna wrap this shit up.
We got 3 more questions. Neville kills Nagini, destroying the final Horcrux, and bringing the end to Voldemort. However, Harry is the one that casts the spell to kill him. Did you think this would be the fall of the Dark Lord? And also, there's a big argument of who killed Voldemort. Is it Harry, or is it, does Ron get the W, or does Neville? Not Ron, Harry. Does Harry get the W, or Harry? Neville?
What I think is interesting is that it could be either one of them that was the chosen one. In the end, it took both of them to kill him.
Right.
So he focused only on one of them, but the truth is, it was both of them. I love that Harry tells Neville, you have to kill Nagini.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I hate that they cut that out of the movie, and that, like, Neville inadvertently
Neville just him. Magically came to it on his own.
Accidentally kills Nagini. No, he knows to do it, and Harry trusts him enough to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
And so in the end, it took both of them. That is a good conclusion for this. Which one's the chosen one?
Yeah.
And I love that he gets his own hero story.
Yeah.
Like, and again, that's why I like his story arc better, because he was the kid who was like terrified of everything, and in the end he helped kill the Dark Lord.
Right.
Instrumental in it.
Right. Last question, then I want to talk book versus movie. The book ends and we see the Golden Trio at platform 9 3/4. They're there with their children, sending them off to Hogwarts. How did you like this ending?
I think that's the ending adults want. I don't think that's the ending like the kids care about. But like, I think the adults who are fans of the series want to see this happily ever after. Personally, I want to see Neville and Luna get married. I know that's not what happens in like whatever the fandom spring off fucking wizarding world. I know that they don't. But to me, they would have been the cutest couple. They would have been adorable. Adorable.
They would have.
And in the movie, I wish they would have just recast the person who plays Ginny, because there was no way to age her up.
She was
20
so
fucking years.
young.
You can't age her 20 fucking years.
She was young.
No.
So I want to go over my small list I have about book versus movie.
Okay.
The few things that were omitted. Victor Crumb was at the wedding. We don't talk about that. Like, he has the radio station is not in the movie at all, which I liked that part of the book.
And I think it was important. Yeah.
Lupin actually tries abandoning Tonks to go to the Battle of Hogwarts. Like, he tries getting her he leaves her and abandons her at her parents with the baby.
Well, says, before he's even born, he tries to go with Harry and abandon her while she's pregnant.
Right. He keeps trying to like leave Tonks, and that's not talked about enough.
No.
And she loved him so much.
It's not him manning up at all.
No. She loved him so much, she knew she was going to go to a battle she could die in. Like, it really shows her.
Right. And did die in.
Like, there is a difference in Snape's memories in the book and in the movies when we go through that whole shit show.
I actually like the addition of him in the movie he goes to the Potter house and finds Lily dead. I think that was actually a really good addition.
That makes him more redeemable, right? They were trying to make Snape more redeemable.
I don't think it really does, because I don't think he's a redeemable character, but I feel like it was a good addition because you got, first of all, Alan Rickman is a great actor.
Fantastic actor.
He's a great actor.
And he's sorely missed. He was so talented.
And so I think you have to put that scene in there. You have to.
Yeah. Side story. There is a Jimmy Fallon clip of him talking about his time on the Harry Potter set. And it's the scene with all the kids in the sleeping bags. I'll post it in the notes because it's so funny. Everyone should see it. And he's talking about how he got a farting machine and he put it in the foot of Daniel Radcliffe's bag, and that he would like push it right before they'd start filming, and they'd like silence the room, and he'd push it, and Harry would fart, and the whole room of children would start bursting into laughing.
That's hilarious.
And he goes, and that's the reason that scene's not in the movies. And then there's one he tells about how the actor that plays Ron, Rupert, I say his last name wrong. Anyways, Rupert was sketching a very unflattering picture of Alan while they were in like the Great Hall scenes, and like he took it from him, and Alan's like, and it's still one of my most treasured possessions. So like, he's such a good human being. Anyways, moving back to book versus movie. I'm sorry. How Molly actually kills Bellatrix is changed in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that was more to make her of a less violent.
She needed to fucking be violent. You killed her son.
Right.
You fucking killed her son.
But she didn't know Fred was dead yet.
Yeah, she did. So Fred dies, and like shortly after Fred dies, Voldemort calls like a short intermission.
Oh, that's right.
We're gonna call halftime in the middle of our fucking war, because that's so stupid. That makes sense.
That's not how any of this works. That's not how any of this works.
No. So I think Molly Weasley killing Bellatrix is one of my favorite parts of this entire series.
Not my daughter, you bitch.
Not my daughter, you bitch. You already killed my son. You don't get to take Jenny too. I love it. I love that part.
Yeah. And then the fate of the Elder Wand. This was the biggest thing that made my skin crawl. In the book, Harry uses it to repair his original wands, and then holds on to it. And his reasoning is he's going to hold on to it till he dies, and the power of the Elder Wand dies with him, right?
I thought he did
and he fucking snaps it in two in the movie. That's it.
I thought he put it back with Dumbledore. He tells...
He does.
He puts it back with Dumbledore. He does
put it back with Dumbledore, but he's keeping the power with him. He's not going to keep it on him. He's not going to use it.
Right.
And once he dies, the power dies with him.
Right. I thought that change was stupid. It was stupid.
I hated when I saw the movie and he snapped that wand in half.
Right.
Like, there was an uproar in the theater.
Right.
People were not happy.
Chan Wills, when she talks about that in one of her videos, as McGonagall, she's like, "You must hate me because we needed to rebuild Hogwarts. You could have just used the Elder Wand to do that, but no, I'm gonna break my back to do it." I laughed so hard. She's so funny. She's so funny. Even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, like I'm not, like, go listen to her videos. They're hilarious.
She's funny.
She's very funny.
Well, that's it for Harry Potter. Final thoughts.
Too inconsistent. Lots of plot holes. I'm really bothered by the fact that Harry takes almost an entire book to learn how to do Expecto Patronus, but can do the Death Curse in like his very first try. How the fuck? How the fuck? I don't understand. There's just so many inconsistencies with the wands and the way that magic is done, and like it's really inconsistent, and that is what bothers me. People that write books where they create worlds, Tolkien, Molly, that's the first time that your name and Tolkien have ever been in the same sentence.
And it'll be the last time.
Suzanne Collins.
Again, not related.
People that create worlds, you are creating the boundaries for yourself. If you are creating the boundaries, you can't fucking break them. Just make the boundaries that you need to make the story go. This is my biggest issue with it.
I think JK hit a wall that we all hit. And so there's a problem, and I think there's two camps when it comes to writing. There's pantsers, and then there's the people that do outlines. I think JK was a pantser. And I think she wrote every book as she went. And then she got halfway through the series and was like, oh shit, I need to keep track of what I'm doing.
Yes. I completely agree with that.
And the problem with being a pantser, and I'm a pantser, is sometimes we feel like our storyline is carved in stone. And it is not. And if she would have taken the time to write she did take a long time to write these. Let's not get it twisted. If she would have stopped and paid attention to the direction of it and mapped it out based off of the shit she's already got in ink and not just kept rolling and pantsing it as she went, I think those inconsistencies wouldn't be so heavy-handed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. But I will say that I see value in these books. They made a generation of readers. And for that, as a librarian, I am thankful that they exist. They are not my cup of tea. It's not about
to read.
Right. It's not about fantasy. I love fantasy. It's about the inconsistencies, but you made a generation of readers. So, you get props for that. You get props for that.
It brings people together across the world. People on dating apps don't put their horoscopes anymore.
They put their Hogwarts
houses.
Well, I knew my Hogwarts house even before I had read the books because that's just what you do. You know
that. We all, I feel like even if it does have plot holes and even if it does have inconsistencies and even if we fucking hate Dumbledore, which besties we do.
We do.
Something that can bring the world together can't be that bad.
I agree with you. I still don't like it, but I agree with you.
Did you guys hear that? She agreed with me about Harry Potter. Okay, next week.
Next week, we are reading this book, Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia.
We finished this right before we started recording.
And this is such a lovely little book. If you are an audiobook reader like Molly and I tend to be, grab this one from the library or pick up a copy.
Just skim through it at the bookstore real quick because the graphics are beautiful.
You need to see the illustrations as part of the story. They are pivotal to the story itself.
They're in the ebook. I noticed that on Libby.
Oh, okay. So they are in the ebook.
You can see them on the ebook too.
And they're in black and white, so you're not losing anything by getting them if you have a black and white e-reader like I do. But we're going to read that one next week, and then we are going to end the first season with the book City of Girls.
I have that.
Where Molly will be hosting that one. And that's it. That will be that's it right there, City of Girls. And that's it. That's our first season, besties. So
we have it. We love you guys. I hope you guys know that.
Yeah. And thank you for staying around for a 2-hour episode. Fuck.
With some of the edits Tom will add, it'll be 2 and some change.
Yeah, probably. All right.
That's it, gang. We are out of here.
Woo! Bye!
Bye! Thank you for joining us on Book Besties. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The views discussed here are those of Molly and April and not those of anyone else. Today we discussed the Harry Potter series, books 4 through 7 by J.K. Rowling. Your book besties are Molly Biggs and April Watkins. Editing by Thomas Watkins, and music is Sleep Sweetly by Prigida. Don't forget to follow Book Besties on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. If you'd like to contact the Book Besties, please email us at bookbestiespod@gmail.com.